And today we're going to be talking about start with simple shapes. Does anyone here have a favorite shape or shapes that they like to create with? They find you find you repeat them. So, and I know I say so a lot, so I've been going through my videos and trying to improve to be the best guide as I can for you. And if you're new here, just put a thumbs up in the comments section. Bridge shape, yes. Isn't that interesting that you say that? That's one of my images that I use in my work. And I've been thinking about, well, how can I use that shape, repeat that throughout my work? And it's definitely your bridge shape, which would be something like this. And if you repeated it in different areas, that's so cool. There's a lot of meaning behind that shape. And I know every time I start with these, and don't forget, if you haven't signed up, I've added another resource, which I'll show you in a second. This is just your guide, which I find very beneficial when I even read it, because it just makes me just relax, slow down, show up, no pressure, and be myself. And that's what I'm learning to do. Also, your mark making reflections, they're very important in that you don't have to do a big reflection sheet every time you do some mark making, a mark making session. That's not the point. It's like your mark making is like your writing. It's really you. Your signature is very unique, and so are your marks. This week, last week, I included this. If you sign up, I'm just sort of adding these on to the sign up sheet. And if you didn't get them, if you've already signed up earlier, let me know in the chat. And I can email them to you, or I can offer them in a different way, in a newsletter. If you're signed up for my newsletter as well, this is where you really benefit from all of my resources. So your core materials for intuitive layers. And if you missed last week, that's what we did. I just introduced you to intuitive layers. And in my new course that's coming out in the fall, and in my free 5-day course, Intuitive Layers, I take you a lot deeper. Today, for the email, which I sent last night, I didn't send a final reminder. Did anyone miss that email, or did you want that email sent Tuesday mornings for the Tuesday at 2 Create With Me session? Just let me know in the comments. Why shapes matter in intuitive art. I'll just read the first paragraph. Shapes are the quiet structure beneath every composition. They give our work rhythm and movement. So that's movement of the viewer's eye and movement of the lines and shapes in the composition. Balance without locking us into rigid rules. When you start with shapes, you start with possibility. So this is available when you sign up. And welcome everybody. As you can see, I pre-started a page and I'm just using my mixed media. This is a 9x12 and it's 114 pound. So I thought, well, I just felt like experimenting with today's session shapes, because sometimes we can get so wrapped up in the layering process. I tend to, anyway, forget the shapes, or don't focus on the shapes, or expand my shape schema or, filing cabinet that I have of experiences. So then when you're in the intuitive mode, they come naturally without thinking. You're responding. So let's dive in. That's enough of my talking. And I just want to say hi to Jane. Hi, Lori. Spirals, ladders. Oh, I use a lot of ladders. It's so interesting that we as a group have some common shapes that we like to use. Very cool. Okay, so to keep it simple and also to keep it very bold at the beginning for an underlayer, I usually go super bright or black. And I know you've seen me use black in many different ways out there. Some of you like it, some of you don't. It was just a choice in my art journals other than white, maybe because of mystery. But what I did as a start, I started with very simple, and I'll go over these again. I just needed somewhere to start today rather than a blank page, which I can do as well. It just saves time, and especially for demonstration purposes. So I think I'll go back and forth. When I activated this page, I just need to activate it either with pencil, and then I can switch off, and then I can use my opposing hand, like I said. But what I've noticed is I'm still not slowing down enough to really be present. Like this fast and squiggles and everything, that's fine if you're, just doing doing a 10-minute exercise. But our marks need a lot more careful, not thought, energy, presence. We need to notice them. And I'm finding, and I'll show you the page I worked on, which will probably be next week's video, because I was focusing on shapes. Now, I don't know why I'm doing this. It seems to be an energy. It's my left hand. And now I'm finding new marks that I would not normally use or come up with. And I'm really liking that idea. Water-soluble graphite. I didn't use it on the page I'm showing you, but see, when you switch hands, there's a whole different energy which then influences the mark. So now, and I'm twisting and slowing down, changing pressure. And I want something strong right here as a contrast. So I'll just leave that. We'll come back to it, maybe. So that's how I started this page. And so then I used my color shaper, and I started just making loose rectilinear shapes here. And just for demonstration purposes, I'm going over some layers, but then I'm going to make the same ones. So these are in black, they could be bold. And I'm just playing. I used my, where did it go? Oh. Again, a scratchy brush makes some really nice loose shapes. And going off the page and just letting the art tool sort of direct. So these are what you would call organic shapes or lines. And that really covers that. Wow. And then you can even add another layer. And a lot of the times I like just mixing the paint right on the page. I don't do a lot of mixing of colors, but that's my next goal. And these are such a great opposite or difference. Okay. So what I like to do, instead of getting the hairdryer out, this really is a quick way to dry, and it spreads the lines in an unexpected way. And you get that little bit of brayer and then it's like a brayer roll. So those can be organic shapes too. And they're great because you never know what you're going to get if that's what you want. So I'll just dry this up quickly. So circles, arches, changing the thickness. So this is an open shape. Circles, of course, are a closed shape. Changing your direction. So while that dries, ooh, see, I didn't expect that. So now that's pushed that back another layer. I love that effect, especially doing something that's unexpected, having an unexpected result. Okay. So another way to use shapes, and I find that I like a rectilinear. I use a lot of rectangles and squares with circles. I guess the opposite. They're so different. And this kind of shape I call fragmented. So you can tear the paper, and it depends which direction you tear, depending on if you want the tear to show or not. So I'm just going to tear this up. I'm going to place them sort of near each other, but I want it to be fragmented. Okay, I'm going to go here. So I'm going to glue them down apart from each other. And then you get to see what's underneath. I really like that. I'm just going to use a glue stick. So How's everyone's week going? So I might as well chat while I'm creating. I love this. So nice to see everybody here. And I'm sure all of you, if you're in Canada or the United States, things are a little crazy as this heat is just sweltering. I'm in Ontario and it is crazy. How about you? So notice you've got lots of play here. And it's really, there's a lot going on, but that's okay. We're gonna learn to quiet things down. I think that's gonna be next week's, because we've learned so far. Let's just talk about what we've done. We've done line, we've done color, we've mark making, color, layers. This week is shape, and now maybe texture, and then quieting down all of the layers that you've built up. How do we do that? How do we do that intuitively? Stay tuned. So that's one way. Now see, if I added this is another element. So we have half circles, circles, organic, big scratchy ones, and some line here. So this would just add to the mix of, whoa, that's a lot of elements. So that's the thing that tells me if it's a yes or a no. This is a piece of deli paper that I created on a jelly plate. Give me a thumbs up in the comments if you are interested in jelly plating or do jelly plating already. Jelly plate printing, I mean. Notice I like this change under there. So you can see that slightly. So I'm going to, it's dry now, so I'm just gonna use gloss medium with a color shaper. Now last week we used some tissue paper, some vellum, and I'm still practicing with my transparent collage. And we're going to do that in a moment, but with shape. So this goes on really nicely, except when I miss a spot, it tends to bubble, but I'm not going to worry about that. So make sure you've put it in the entire area. If it's deli paper, it can handle being rubbed, or I use the brayer. And it squeezes out any excess, helps with the bubble, but bubbles are very easily fixed later on when they're dry. So now it's sort of translucent. This one is calling me, not the feathered edge though. Now what direction? Okay. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to figure out which way it wants to go. So I'm just going to do this. And sometimes you'll like your results, but that isn't the point. Remembering our intuitive art process, it's responding. So this caused this because I wanted to tear, and then this to here, and all the busyness, I needed some quiet. So it all leads. Okay, let's just do one more thing. Now this is a busy one, but I'm going to use it anyway because it's transparent. I think, yeah. See all the overlapping? I just wanted to show you that. The time is moving so quickly today. I wanted to show you one more technique. Right here. Wow, that is so great. And to keep going every day, artist or ache, how do we pronounce that? Thank you so much for your comment. And there's something so wonderful about transparent layers. Like this was so simple, but look at the effect. So I'm just going to finish this later because on the other side with the marks, I wanted to show you, now that's probably not a good thing to do. Oh, sorry, I have to dry this because it'll stick. And it doesn't take very long. Okay. So back to this start. And I wanted to show you what you can do just with torn, cut out, a combination of opaque and transparent shapes. So I have them all ready to go. I think we'll use that. These were made on my jelly plate. I have a small one and a large one. I have three. What is it? 12 by 14, an 8 by 10, and a 5 by 7. Really great to have. As you can see, when I lie these on top of each other, you can see different ones underneath, so they're transparent. And I think combined with, this is just a piece of the roll-off newsprint that you can get incredible collage paper with, to very light. Some of this is tracing paper. I can tell because it's more delicate. Newsprint. So now I've got a bunch. Okay, so I'm just going to intuitively I'll start with one opaque piece. Okay, let's start with the blue. It's gonna go right there. Let's use the heavy gloss. Just because it's a little faster, but I'll be using the fluid for the translucent. So of course that's going to cover that up. So I'm being a little more careful in my placement, a little more thought going on. I don't want to lose that energy. But if I do, I can always go over it again with a black pastel. And I'll show you that right now. Dark blue. Now it's still wet. So I have to wait till it dries because it won't. That's a dark blue. I love it. And okay. Then we're going to come in with some transparent. I'm just going to tear today. Some opaque and another blue. Some pink. And this is, you can see some of the lines underneath. So it's partially, so it's translucent. So here's an interesting shape, just from tearing. I love that. So which way is the best? Here. So, anyone new? Nice to see you. I hope you're enjoying this demonstration. I love transparent, colored collage paper. It is so cool. And notice I'm just grabbing. So we've got the primaries here. We've got blue, red, and yellow. Will I keep it nice and big? Maybe. Yeah, why not? Sometimes if you don't want to smudge the lines on the substrate, you can put it directly on the back of your collage piece and save a lot of smudging. So now you have shadows underneath. You've got combinations of different colors. And I will put a shout out for Jane Davies. Anyone here follow Jane Davies? Oh, I've been watching and learning from her for so long. Now what would go great next? Nice. And this is an old page. It tears so easily. So now you've got this overlapping weaving thing going on. And as a start, it's great. What it will end up with, I have no idea. But you can have a journal just full of starts, colorful starts with shapes. I have different journals for different things, and I have so many now. I have to, I'm going to, for the upcoming course, and I will give you the name, Inner Rhythm is coming up, and I'm having a blast just thinking about it and all the things that I'm going to share. So here, oh, that's so beautiful. Do we have an orange yet? Oh, let's do a black and white. That looks good there. I just call this intuitive placement. And these are all scraps. See, so if that's up there, something black and white might need to go here. Vertical, not so tall. Yes. So things are covered, things are not. Positive, negative space, and now you have the negative space forming some very interesting shapes. So when that dries, you can go in with, let's go here. You can add on to a color that's already there. You can make some more shapes. Use the back of your brush. And now I have the same, I'm emulating or echoing, I call it, the same thing I'm doing with my collage with the paint. So, but it's in a different material. So, and now I'm just responding. You can also go in with it's a Neo Aquarelle. They're water soluble, and you just put a little on the end, and you have a glaze. Now, mind you, that looked better in black and white. So I think I'll just do a little lifting. This is really cool. So I wanted the lines to still show through. Okay. So today I showed you 3 different ways to use shape. This is the last one: overlaying torn, cut, opaque, or translucent collage papers with paint in a very colorful way. And this is a great start, or I might just even leave it and finish up with just some line after it dries. I also use black and white, used a fractaled shape, some transparent collage in still with a pattern on it, but it's still in a simple rectangle shape. And then at the end, if you wanted just a touch more, but I'm going to keep this in a black and white. You can use old paint rollers. You can use cork. Now Now my paint's a little dry, so I'll fix that. And maybe so even pausing between your layers is a good idea, just so you can just spin out of your intuitive mode, your creative mode, see what's there, and ask yourself, what does it need? What isn't there? Sticking with a small shape family like circles, arches, and rectangles. Or just simple rectangles with lots of color. Ooh, this needs to go up there, does it not? Let's do it. And notice I put it in the opposite direction. That was vertical, so I'm going to put it horizontal. Oh, and notice the eye moves down. I might need to add a little bit here, but I'm not going to do that now. And that's a wrap for starting with simple shapes. Does anyone have any questions or comments? What shapes are we going to expand with this week? Okay, so if you loved this, I would consider it calming, gentle, especially once you're slowing down. Check out my 5-day course. Give that a try, and then you will be on my mailing list. If you want letters from the studio, which is my newsletter, feel free, hop on there. There's new resources that I'm giving out all the time. And I will be putting out my wait list for an idea that I'm coming up with late fall. So if you're with me and you want to go deeper, try the 5-day course, see if you like that whole presentation, but don't forget, I'm sort of developing and evolving as an artist myself. And the inner rhythm idea really is going to be amazing. So I'm so excited. I can't wait. Thank you for being here. And let's use some shapes, transparent layers. And if you want me to demonstrate how I use jelly plate printing, leave a yes or a thumbs up in the comments, because I would love to demonstrate that as well. So, thank you for being here. Enjoy the week. Happy creating. And I'll see you next week.